With Verizon, you could save big on all your favorite entertainment. Whoa! Like Netflix.
Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is a live edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios. Fine jewelry, watches, and much more. Family owned and operated with the largest selection of natural diamond jewelry. We'll have Brent Beer here in just a minute. If you missed it last night, the Edmonton Oilers win Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And I actually went to bed when Texas Tech was up 1-0, and they lost to the Lady Longhorns 2-1. So Texas can win the national title tonight in the Women's College World Series. Your NBA Finals crank up tonight, Thunder and Pacers. Let's go to the Titan MR Hotline. We're joined by our Heisman Trophy voter and football analyst, all that good stuff, and much, much more. Brent Beard. Good morning, Brent. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. I have a college football preseason magazine in my hand, so that makes for a better week, doesn't it, Shane?
No question. I've yet to get mine, but I want to say Athlons came out. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Were you like the first guy at Publix to buy it?
Let's just say I was among the, maybe not number one, but I was close.
All right. So what can you tell us that you've done so far sitting in your recliner, Brent, at night reading Athlons? What's going on in there?
Well, a quick top 10, Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson. That's your top 5. Notre Dame is 6, LSU 7, Bama 8, Oregon 9, and Miami is number 10. Now for our listeners and viewers, Florida is 11. South Carolina is 12, K-State is 13, Arizona State 14, Michigan is 15, Ole Miss is 18, A&M is 19, Oklahoma is 20, Tennessee's 21, Texas Tech is 22, and we're going to see a lot more Texas Tech because their NIL is going through the roof. So that's just a quick snippet of the top 25.
Well, speaking of Texas Tech, John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, Kennedy doesn't know how to execute an intentional walk. That was your ball game. I don't know what happened. I missed it. All I saw was the final. So somebody's got to fill me in on what happened last night. You didn't see the softball game, did you, Brent?
I just kept up with it on Twitter. There was a obstruction call that caused a lot of controversy.
They have that issue in every softball game. It's the dumbest rule.
Yeah,
maybe
it really is.
That is the dumbest rule, along with super regionals. They flip a coin or whatever to see who the home team's going to be in the third game or the final game when you've earned the right to be the home team.
Sure.
Those may be the two dumbest rules in sports. So, okay, well, we'll have to look and see what happened there. Brent, what's going on with the House and the class action deadline? All that stuff going on?
Well, it's been extended to June the 27th. But we're still waiting on why that might be going on. Could be the judge, Wilkins, has not made her mind up yet. Also, she may be trying to make it, as Brandon Marcello said in his article, appeal proof. She's trying to write it that way. So we still wait. Hopefully, we will get something. And again, the dragging the feet here has a lot to do with the roster limits and walk-ons and so forth. And Shane and I both are walk-on proponents, and hopefully they will be fair with the walk-on. So we still don't know anything yet, but the reality is we've got to get this done soon. In your deadlines again for the SEC to go to 8 or 9 is going to be right before the season begins in August, and then if we go to 16 overall with the playoff, the deadline for that's like December the 1st. So it seemed like we got a lot of time, but Shane, in reality, we really don't.
No, not at all. Text on the Titan MR text line. Not sure who it's from, but it says, I understand that Greg Sankey wants more done to Sully. Not good at all. He has really hurt this program. I don't know about that. I mean, obviously he's not happy. It wasn't a good look the other day. Have you heard that at all from Greg Sankey?
No, I haven't at all. I haven't seen that on Twitter or talked to anyone else about it. I'm not being disparaging to the texter here, but no, I have not.
Yeah, and then on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Team Hammerhead says, what's going on with the UF president's search and what does it mean for the athletic department? Obviously, they're looking for a president. We all know that they vetoed the Michigan president. I don't know. I mean, look, the athletic department can't worry about this. They move on and try to win as many games as possible and do things the right way. So AU Gator wants to know, looks like NIL has struck softball with Mia Williams entering the portal. Yeah, that's interesting. Somebody sent me some quotes from Mia Williams' mother that was blasting Coach Walton for not going out and getting top-notch pitchers, which is interesting because she's basically bashing Keegan Rothrock, who came in the same freshman class with Mia Williams. So not a good look. I don't know why some of these parents have to put stuff on Twitter. It makes no sense. We'll be fine. Trust me, we'll be fine. All right, Brent, College Football Hall of Fame names have come out. Brent, how much do you know about the College Football Hall of Fame? How long can you be on the ballot, and how many people are selected each year? I think I should know this, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm actually a voter for that.
Okay.
You get a certain amount of players. I think it's 12, if I remember that right, that you can vote for. Now, this is much more than 12 there, obviously, and they're not just all SEC. And then there are also all divisions. I mean, in other words, you've got Division I that we're used to, and then you've got some of the lower divisions. Now, on the coaches, which among the coaches, you've got Jim Carlin, who was South Carolina, Dennis Franchione from Alabama and A&M, Tommy Tuberville, who may be the next governor of Alabama, Ole Miss and Auburn, and you can only vote for, I think it's 2 coaches usually every year. Now, Mike Leach is going to be eligible, but he won't be eligible until the 2027 class. But I'm really glad, Shane, they lowered their required win percentage from 60% to 59.5 for Mike Leach. That was a good move. There are a lot of things Mike Leach did on and off the field for college football. So I'm glad that he is going to have a chance to be in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at the list of the players. Obviously, we discussed this last couple of days in our program. The Gators are Alex Brown, Percy Harvin, and Brad Culpepper. I'm looking at this list, Brent. There's one guy on here that I don't even know how he made the ballot. And he's a head coach in college football right now.
Yeah, Josh Heupel.
Can somebody tell me how Josh Heupel is on this list? And nothing to take away from. I mean, he won a national title.
Right.
But so out of this list, Brent, how many can go in this year? Is it a set amount, or it could be? It could be 3, or it could be 6, or how many? Do you know that?
We're limited into the amount of guys that we can vote for, and it's like we can vote for 12, but there may be 50 or 60 names on the ballot.
So this
yeah.
isn't all the names that you sent me
No,
here.
no. This is just the names for the SEC. Is
Oh,
ones that
oh, that's right. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
Yeah, that's okay.
Well,
but your point, this is when Heupel was a quarterback at Oklahoma, and probably a lot of people may forget that he was a quarterback at Oklahoma.
well, looking at this list right here, the two people that I think are shoo-ins are Mark Ingram and Cam Newton.
Yeah, I would agree. There's some incredible talent on here. Do you remember, and I'm sure you do, Randall Cobb at Kentucky?
Oh, yeah.
Randall Cobb, I know he was with the Packers a while, but Cobb is going in as a wide receiver. Shane, do you remember Cobb did a little bit of everything? I mean, Cobb actually was a quarterback at Kentucky. Tremendous athlete. So I remember him fondly.
Yep, for sure. Franklin has a question on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing for You. Does Brent want to comment on the FSU settlement with the ACC?
Well, here's kind of what look, I still think FSU wants out and will get out after 5 years. But one of the things that FSU wanted, so did Clemson, was they wanted a higher percentage of the money, and that's what they got. So they did accomplish that, but the new contract for the ACC is going from 26 to 31. And what's going to be interesting is at the end of that 5 years, will FSU and Clemson and who knows who else, will they be gobbled up by somebody else, SEC or Big Ten, or will they stay in the ACC? But for now, it's peaceful with the ACC, and unless Notre Dame wants to join sometime soon, which I don't think they will, that's where FSU is. So, Shane, it's okay for now. They're getting more money, but still, well, we'll see after 5 years if they still want to leave or not.
Yeah, Greg's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon. What do we know about Miami's new QB? Well, Greg, it's Carson Beck from Georgia. So
That's right.
We know a lot about him. Brent, so let's week 3 starts SEC play in the conference. Now, not every team will be playing an SEC game, but there's some good ball games that weekend.
Boy, Shane, have you seen a better looking weekend this early in the season than week 3? Just to go through some of the games, Wisconsin's and Alabama. This is going from noon on. Oklahoma actually goes to Temple. That's interesting, but it really is. It's probably one of those 2-for-1 deals. You know what, Shane? They're playing that game where the Eagles play.
Well, Temple plays all their games there, so
yeah.
They don't even have a home stadium.
Yeah. So, just folks be aware of that. Georgia plays Tennessee. This is usually a November game, but this year it's in September 13th. Now, obviously, that's Florida at LSU to continue the big games. And then at 7:30, while Florida and LSU are playing, A&M goes to Notre Dame. And then you've got Arkansas at Ole Miss and Vanderbilt at South Carolina. So, wow. Shane, that's a hefty lineup, is it not?
It will. I'll be looking at the TVs in the press box during our game against LSU. The Pouncey Twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors or find your favorite at shopjfhaydens.com. Brent, in Destin, I don't know if people really paid attention to this, but Commissioner Sankey says that you're going to be fined now $500,000 if you storm the field or the court. Now, Brent, is it still the rule where, let's say Florida's playing LSU, or let's just say LSU's playing Florida since we play there this year.
Mm-hmm.
They beat us. They storm the field. Don't they have to write a check to the University of Florida Athletic Department for $500,000?
I'd have to double check that, to be honest with you.
I thought the visiting team was getting that money, is what I thought.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah. Now, there will be no more escalating scale. Our listeners may remember, there was 100,000, then it goes to 250, then it goes to 500. No, I think where they are with this, they're just tired of it, and let's just make it as punitive as we can. And that would, look, $500,000 is a chunk of change for rushing the field. So they obviously got a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, and Sankey is not happy with any of these playoff scenarios, I don't believe. He just wants the 12 best teams. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah, and look, a lot of people have kind of gone that way now. Frankly, I mean, we've got the two, we've got the 4-4-2-2-1. 4-4 means 4 guaranteed slots for SEC and Big Ten. And the other thing that's come up now is the 5+11. Now, what that tells you is we're going to 16. They're not going to 14. So that I think that's a given. It may not be, but I think it is. And the 11 would be the at-large teams. So, look, the reality is, I mean, no, I understand in the 4-4-2-1 that the SEC say would get 4 guarantees. But, Shane, if you've got this 5-11 and you've got 11 at-large teams, I mean, from those at-large teams on a typical year, I mean, if you're up to 16, instead of just getting 4, I mean, the SEC could easily get, 5 or 6? So that they may actually get more teams in the 5-11 than they would the other one.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm into the 5-11 because I think if they want to do the conference champs, that's fine. But then do the next 11 best. That's kind of where I'm leaning.
Yeah.
Brent, it's that time of the year. Who will lead the SEC in rushing?
Yeah, these are the fun questions that we have this time of year. Saturday Down South has done a lot of guesses with these things, and some of the guys mentioned C.J. Baxter out of Texas. Now, he was hurt most of the year last year. Trey Wisner is another Texas running back who really came on strong. Jaden Baugh, obviously from Florida. Jaden Ott in Oklahoma, who transferred from Cal, is a really good running back. Caden Durham is at LSU, is a possibility too. So again, a lot of really good running backs in this league.
Yep. And then who do you think will lead the SEC in receiving?
Well, that's a good question too. Have a lot of transfers. Nick Anderson and Barry Brown have transferred to LSU. Also, Ryan Wingo at Texas, Deion Burks at Oklahoma, Cam Coleman, and Shane has mentioned this quite frequently. Auburn's got one of the better receiving corps in the nation. Mike Matthews out of Tennessee. Zachariah Branch moved from Southern Cal to Georgia. And then Ryan Williams, of course, at Alabama. So that's a good number of receivers. They're all very good, aren't they?
Yeah. This is an interesting comment for Braun71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. He says they didn't allow, meaning the committee, didn't allow 1 3-loss team in last year, Brent. The committee will punish the SEC teams with more losses than ACC, Big 12, and smaller conference schools with, quote, better records.
Well, this is something Sankey talked about during the week, and he made it very clear. He said you can't just look at the losses. You've got to look at the strength of schedule. So the SEC's argument is to get more teams in would be for the committee to look at the strength of schedule. Now, here's a reality, though. With us going to 16 and getting 4 more teams, some combination of that. You remember South Carolina and Alabama, those were 2 of the teams, and Ole Miss were actually the SEC had 3 teams who could have had an argument. Now, with going to 16, if they take into consideration the strength of schedule, I think you're going to have maybe even 1 or 2 teams with 3 losses who get in, particularly, again, if they look at the schedule.
Exactly. Some trap games for some of the SEC teams this year, Brent.
Yeah, this is always interesting to look at this. And I'll just throw some of the ones out here. Alabama at Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi State on November the 1st, Auburn at Arkansas on October the 25th. Now, Arkansas would be that for Auburn. Mississippi State would be that for Arkansas, Missouri for Alabama. Now, they're saying here Florida needs to be careful about South Florida, obviously, before they play LSU. And again, this is the reason they do this, is you're looking at a big game. Well, who do they play the week before? And that tells you a lot. So, and then for Georgia, it could be Auburn on October the 11th. Georgia's had the best of that rivalry over the last few years. For LSU, going to Vanderbilt on October the 18th. When Vandy's healthy, they're a handful, and they will be this year too. So, Ole Miss and Tulane, they play Tulane on September the 20th. Now, John Summerall is a coach at Tulane, and he is really good. And people have to be careful about Tulane. So we won't go into all of them here, but just a brief note. It's fun to look at these things from time to time and see who may trip you up.
Yeah. Before we jump into going around the league, I tell people this all the time because I do business up in Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi. Those high school football coaches are equivalent to SEC Big Ten paid coaches, whereas the state of Florida is worse than a Group of 5 coach.
Yeah. Well, they really are. Football Scoop had this earlier in the week about the amount of money that some of the Georgia coaches make. And there are let's see, I mean, even back in 2015, there were a lot of them. 17 coaches in Georgia with 6-figure salaries. That look, when you're and Shane can talk more about this, but if you're making 6 figures, and some of them, now my understanding was some of these guys, not only did they make 6 figures, they also got a vehicle, like a truck to go along with it too. Now, a lot of these, correct me if I'm wrong here, Shane, but a lot of this would probably come from your booster club, or they would have something to do with that. But the point here is it's an amazing amount of coaches in the state of Georgia that make over $100,000. And another thing that goes along with this is there's a decent amount of these coaches that basically don't teach much. And Shane, it's not only making the money, but if you don't have to teach, that's another real perk for these coaches.
Yeah, it's there's probably 40 to 50 high school coaches that will make well over 100. There's some that make over 200,000 in the state of Georgia, and most of that, Brent, is coming from the school system. That I don't think they calculate what comes from the booster clubs because that's separate. You're right. It's night and day. It's a shame. The facilities. I could do a 3-hour program on the difference and how the state of Florida is so far behind across the board. It's a mess, and it's unfortunate, and that's why you lose a lot of really good high school coaches in the state. Go to Alabama, to Georgia, to Mississippi, other places, but it's a shame. But yeah, it's so impressive. I'm in awe every time I go up there. Yeah. Brent, let's go to the Alabama Crimson Tide. What's going on with them?
They a little bit coming out. The Alabama invested a lot of money in their coaching staff. They had $47 million spent on football coaching in the 2024 fiscal year. Now, I think some of this had to do with Nick Saban leaving and Kalen DeBoer coming in. So you've got to be fair to the staff that's leaving and be fair to the staff that's coming in. So that's where a lot of that money came from. That'll adjust itself by next year with that coming too. So, but the thing that has been brought out too is Kalen DeBoer has really done well with. He doesn't lose very often at home. So now they've lost on the road. Obviously, they did last year to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and Tennessee. But he's really had a strong record at Washington, Fresno State, and Alabama when they play at home.
Yeah, David chimes in here on YouTube. On Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon. Booster Clubs pay most of high school coaches. Yes and no. I think when you see what's reported on Twitter and stuff, that is through the school system. I don't think that includes the booster clubs, because I deal with a lot of these coaches. John says it's not just the Georgia coaches' salaries; it's their facilities are so much better. There's no question.
Yeah,
I've said this to a lot of my buddies, Brent. They have indoor facilities just as nice as the Florida Gators.
That's incredible.
It blows you away.
I'm sure it does.
It blows you away. What's going on with the Auburn Tigers?
Well, as we've talked about from time to time, the Auburn receiving crew still gets a lot of attention. Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, who comes over from Georgia Tech, Harry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons. Now, if Jackson Arnold can get them the ball, the Oklahoma transfer, they could be very good. They've also got a 5-star quarterback in Deuce Knight, who originally committed to Notre Dame. Then he went to Auburn. So hopefully they will be better this coming year at quarterback, because Hugh Freeze has frankly said over and over again that they've got to win at least 8 games or he's going to be in trouble. And Shane, if you look back on the numbers for in Athlon, Auburn is the 11th ranked team in the SEC. Well, I can tell you, if Auburn's 11 in the SEC, with where that program has been before, probably Hugh Freeze won't be back next year.
No, and maybe I'm in the minority here. Obviously, Athlon doesn't agree with me. I just think they are so good at wide receiver, and they had nobody that could get them the football last year. I got to think Jackson Arnold, he was highly, highly recruited going to OU, and things didn't work out there. And they were pretty good on defense last year. I think Auburn can be a surprise team, but we shall see. What's up with the Florida Gators? Yeah,
this report came out from the Athens Herald Banner yesterday about what Florida and Georgia are going to receive, not this year, but in 2026, when they go to Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. Jacksonville will pay school $3 million total during 26 and 27. When they come back to Jacksonville, $10 million to $10.5 during that time. So Georgia and Florida will be paid $7.5 million. That's amazing for the 2026 game. This is by AMB Sports and Entertainment, Arthur Blank's company that he owns. So I won't get into all the minutia of the money here beyond that, but it is amazing when you think about. And look, to me, it's worth it. It's certainly worth it for the city of Jacksonville to do everything that we can to keep that game. But some of the figures are out now for what Florida and Georgia are going to get. Florida is also, I know you've gone over this, so I just hit he had the highlights here. They've had commitments. The Carr kid, 6'5", 315, plays for IMG. He is a 3-star. They've also got a commitment from Caden Hall from Milton High, just outside of Pensacola. A lot of schools were after him. He's 6'3", 200. So the Gator recruiting for the 2026 season and all that is going very well right now.
Yeah, Brent, where's the? Are they playing in the Florida Georgia? Will it be in Tampa the first year or in Atlanta?
I think it's Atlanta first, and then it'll be Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't.
Yeah, 2026 will be played in Mercedes-Benz, and 27 will be at Raymond James Stadium.
All right. Speaking of Atlanta, what's going on with the Georgia Bulldogs?
Yeah, always a lot going on with the Dogs. Texas and Georgia obviously playing again. That's going to be interesting, November 15th. So we'll look forward to that and where that's going to go. Also, Georgia's had a lot of recruits like Florida has, Norcross, Georgia. Defensive lineman Carter Lucky has committed to Georgia. They have, Georgia's recruiting is still going well. Georgia may end up being, I don't know if they'll be number one, but I think they could be 2 or 3. Kirby Smart still has a real priority, Shane, for recruiting high school seniors. He wants to build it through. They kind of cherry pick what they do with transfer portal kids, and they still have most of their roster are going to be recruits from the high school. So that, frankly, is a really good way of doing it.
Yeah. LSU's Brian Kelly on the hot seat, Brent?
Well, with the talent that's coming in, and they've got the number 1 transfer class in America, you could probably make that argument. And I'm not saying if they have a bad year, they would fire him. But I think he would, there's going to be a lot of criticism if they don't do it. I mean, as Shane and I always say, they've really got good players. We mentioned a few minutes ago, Barry Brown and Nick Sanderson transferring there. Nussmeier is a quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. He's going to be a Heisman candidate without a doubt. They've got to replace 2 of their offensive linemen went to the NFL. That's going to be a real priority for them. I think the defense is going to be really good again, especially if they figure out what to do with Harold Perkins, who is a tremendous talent. They've never really kind of found a place to line him up. So, Shane, the pressure is going to be on them, and it starts at the other Death Valley in Clemson. Boy, that's going to be a big game, is it not, Shane? On that Saturday night on Labor Day weekend.
Can't wait. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office, a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com, 352-240-1779. Brent, Oklahoma. This is kind of do or die for Brent Venables. He's going back, kind of taking over the defense, but I think the biggest game on their schedule, which it is every year, is the Red River rivalry because those games haven't even been close.
No.
I think it's crucial for them to at least be competitive.
No, what Shane's talking about is, and it's right on, is in the last 4 years, if they lose in a blowout this year, that will be 3 blowouts in 4 years. And Shane, you know good and well, like I do, the alumni and boosters aren't going to put up with that to lose to Texas at that point. Now, again, Oklahoma has done extremely well, as we mentioned throughout the show today, in getting transfers in. This Jaden Odd, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, could really, really help them at running back. But Shane, the point you made several months ago, I think was really apropos here, is because Venables is going back to calling the plays. I mean, that's really what he does best. Now, look, I mean, obviously, if you're the head coach, you've got a lot to be responsible for. but on game day, don't you do what your expertise is, and that's what that's what Venables can do best.
I'm one of those that have always said, why, if you get hired to be a head coach, why give what you have done in the past to get you that job? Why give it to somebody else? That's why I like Hugh Freeze. He's always called plays. Why he tried that last year, having somebody else call plays, makes no sense to me.
No.
The Tennessee Vols are kind of an interesting story. We know they made the trade with UCLA for quarterbacks, blah, blah, blah. But their whole offense is really based off running the football. They're missing a ton of offensive linemen, and they're missing a damn good running back. So what do you think about the Vols?
Yeah, Dylan Sampson is gone. Really, Tennessee's strength last year was not Nico at quarterback. Their strength was running the ball with Dylan Sampson and that front seven on defense, like the Pierce kids going to the NFL, and they've had others with that too. So to Shane's point, they may only be returning one starter on the offensive line, and that's Lance Hurd. So they've got a good mix of transfers, and they've got, like, if they go with what they think it might be for the starting offensive line, they've got 5 offensive linemen that only had 151 snaps last year. That's not a whole lot at all. And they really like this Mike Matthews at wide receiver. And again, he was okay last year. Didn't do a whole lot, and they're hoping that he is going to be much better. And it's still going to be interesting to see who the quarterback is for Tennessee. When Nico left, they got Joey Aguilar, who did play for App State and really has put up some good numbers. So, Shane, I'm with you. That's going to be a fascinating team to watch this year, isn't it?
It is. And I guess something that really is disappointing, and I don't know if people saw this or heard this, Texas is playing Ohio State.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, premier matchup of the year.
Yes.
And we could have all watched it on a Sunday night, but Texas vetoed it.
Yeah, that's a real shame. That this just came out the other day, that game could have been in a primetime matchup on Sunday night. I mean, my Stars, you've got the whole nation watching you with that. I mean, there's some decent games going on Sunday night and Sunday this year. But then, you're off the next day. People can watch that game. So, but that was disappointing. But Texas is getting a lot of attention, as you can imagine. Texas is number one. We're going to be number one with a lot of magazines. Colin Simmons on the defensive side of the ball that they think is going to be a superstar, to say the least, too. So a lot of people talking about Texas having an easy schedule. But look, Texas has got talent. Sark can really coach, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. So it would be very interesting to see where they are. And Shane, I was talking to someone the other day, when Texas comes to Gainesville, that's going to be quite a week, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable. On YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Barone says, does Brent think Josh Heupel would leave Tennessee if the OU job came open? He's got bad blood a little bit because they fired him. Remember, Bob Stoops fired him at Oklahoma. But I would think he could put that behind him if they wanted to hire him. So we'll see. Real quick, Brian on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, says, Brent, did you hear about this Florida football player that was arrested for trying to choke a woman? He is now on house arrest. Do you think he should be kicked off the football team? How do you think this one will shake out?
I heard that last night, or someone called me to ask me if I'd heard about it. I mean, the reality of that is, I mean, Florida's no different than anybody else. When you just really got to you really don't have any choice. You really just got to let the legal process do its thing, and then you can deal with it from there. More would come out of that. And Shane, in situations like that, there are always things that we just don't know about and probably never will know about, and that may be just as well.
Yeah, and I've always said, you never know. I mean, coaches can only do so much. They can do background checks when they're recruiting all these kids, but sometimes things happen out of the coach's control. So, I've always said this even about people always take shots at Kirby Smart for all the arrests they've had there. Look, he runs a good program. Billy Napier runs a good program. Sometimes things happen, and you have to deal with it. Brent, give us some nuggets before we get out of here.
Yeah, Vanderbilt still is going on. There's been a little bit of Twitter between Ryan Williams of Alabama and Diego Pavia. That's been kind of amusing, frankly. I think Ryan Williams, that they were kind of going back and forth with it on Twitter, and Ryan Williams made some statement about squashing like a bug with a sledgehammer, and that's what's going to happen this year. So, Shane, could we have a little bit of a rivalry now between Alabama and Vanderbilt? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Pretty funny. Brent, good stuff as always. We appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Always enjoy it, Shane. Look forward to next week. Take care.
Yeah, that's Brent Beard. Join us on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll get some more questions, comments, texts, all that good stuff. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers, setbacks, injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Coach, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Linderos Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Linderos Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Linderos Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Linderos.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations are on Northwest 13th Street and Southwest Wilson Road and coming soon to Jonesville. Got some questions here on the Titan MR text line. Somebody asked earlier about the comments of Ryan Day, how he feels like the Big Ten should get 4 automatic qualifiers. I mean, you know, when you throw in the possibility of, say, USC, Washington, or Oregon, along with Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, I'm not against it, but that's why I'm for the 5-11, moving it to 16 teams, the 4 conference champs, 1 group of 5, and the rest are at large, the best teams. That's what I'm all for there. So you could have, out of those 11, you could have 8 SEC teams, 1 ACC, and maybe 2 Big Tens, or you could have, you could have 8 Big Ten teams, depending on how the seasons go. So that's what I would do. On the Titan MR text line from Gary says, QB, if Josh Heupel is up for the College Football Hall of Fame, why aren't you? Oh, I don't know. That's pretty funny, though. I feel like I had a better career than Josh Heupel. I will say that. Text on the Titan MR text line from Stephanie in Savannah, Georgia. Shane, do you have any concerns with the girls that have entered the transfer portal on the softball team? I do not. It has happened across the entire country. There were people immediately when they got ousted in the College World Series, girls were going straight into the portal. Girls from Tennessee are already in the portal. Look, I think Mia Williams is a very good player. I think you'll find a second baseman just as good and maybe better defensively for sure. Could be better offensively. So you're going to see that around the country. And I would not have any concerns about it at all. There was something else I wanted to get to. Oh, Barone says 71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Says LSU is the game I see Florida dropping early. They have the talent at QB loaded up in the portal, and it's a night game in Death Valley. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's nothing like Death Valley on a Saturday night. It's probably one of the best venues in all of football. And, of course, TV always wants to have a night game there. They never make LSU play a noon game for whatever reason, and very seldom a 3:30 start. This text on the Titan MR text line from Roger. He says, Shane, who do you like in the NBA Finals? I'm going to go with the OKC Thunder. They have the MVP. They're young. They're fun to watch. I think the Thunder win their first title ever. I don't know if the Pacers have ever won it. I don't think they have. Here's another text on the Titan MR text line. Shane, do you know anything about the arrest of the football player? No, I don't. I don't know anything. We just discussed it a little bit with Brent. Now, it doesn't sound great, but I don't think you need to have any concern about the football program. Some people, I have some texts on. Some people think it's good that we have people getting arrested. That means we're back. I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there at all. Tony says, Buddy Martin on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, covered it when the Pacers won in 1892. Tony, pretty funny. All right, so tomorrow we're going to have JC. We'll do some Peachland Dental picks. I haven't looked to see what's going on with the Canadian Open. I can't wait till next week. We have the U.S. Open. Should be a good time. And I'm supposed to have a very special guest tomorrow if we can make it work. I'm not going to tell you who it is because a lot of times these special guests have stuff come up or they forget or what have you. So we're going to wait and see on that one. Peachland Dental is Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go visit them at peachlanddental.com. We don't have any picks today, but want to thank Joe for been a big sponsor on this program since the beginning. That's going to do it for today's program. Hope everybody has a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International